Hello and welcome to the free paving workflow as a part of LandKit, where we will explore the functionality available with the free paving components. Here is our free paving workflow dashboard, as well as our minimized grasshopper down here, and there's no need to open that up. So you'll see right off the bat we have a few tabs and a few buttons here. The first thing to notice is the info tab, which gives you a little bit of an overview of what is going on in this workflow. We also have the pave, color, and out tabs, which I'll walk through. The first thing I want you to notice other than that is that we have a set layer structure set up here with different features and geometries in here, as well as our paving area. And you can see that if I just move that around. Okay, so the first tab that you'll notice here is the Pave tab, and this is where we control all of our patterning and the things that we're going to be doing with generating the pattern that we're looking for. So right now we are using this hex grid pattern. I can switch that to a running bond, and you'll see that it automatically updates that pattern for both and all of my paving areas that I'm using. I'm just going to adjust some of this geometry so you can see that it's working in both areas. And then you can also see that we have options here for adjusting the paving length, width, in inches, as well as the joint spacing, the gaps in between the pavers, and the rotation of the paving. You can see if I double click the little gray notch there and type in a different number, let's say 30 here, and hit enter, it is now going to rotate my paving patterns 30 degrees, which is kind of handy. And for any of the sliders throughout these workflows, you can double click that and change that as well and enter a number instead of sliding. It's good to remember that if you're sliding, it will process each value as you slide, so it's good to try and think about the number that you want unless you're working with a very small file to increase your processing speed. Once we're over here, you'll see that if I hover over some of these options and drop downs and sliders, that we have some tooltips here that show what to do with each of these different selections. So currently we're using the attractors, and if I select the objects on that layer, you'll see that we have a couple of points and this curve here. And again, the color tab here is for controlling the color scheme that you're working with. And we have some drop downs here to change the colors, as well as some advanced options for creating your own colors as well. So if we go back to standard, I can change this color to this sort of brownish color, and you'll see that it's affecting the further away gradient. I can even double click here and say that I only want to use 3 colors. Now I have 3 colors being used, and these other 2 on the end are not being used. The tools here, the attractor minimum distance and maximum distance, are a way of controlling the gradient away from those attractor points. So if I increase this to 15, if you look closely at the way the pattern is moving, the spacing between the lightest color and the darkest color increases. So the maximum distance that gradient is reaching out is further. And if I decrease that to 5, you'll see that the maximum range that's reaching out is much smaller. And this is in feet. So that's something important to remember as well. And the last thing you'll see here is that we have some output options. We have the flat mesh output options, and we have the curves output options. So whichever one you have turned on is the preview, as well as the output when you finally bake the pavers. You can also toggle the trimmed option here, which allows you to turn on and off the trimming to your paving area, as well as the baking options up here, where if I click Bake Pavers, it will create the layers for each of the colors of the pavers that I'm using and then place them in those layers under a parent layer. Additionally, if I turn off the play pause button because I want to switch around a little bit of geometry here, maybe I want to change my paving area to be a little bit different, I can toggle that off and then toggle it on, and then it will now reprocess using that updated geometry. This is a handy way of changing a lot of things in your file, in your forms, and in your paving areas before you reprocess everything, so it's not processing at the same time. And then lastly, we have our saving options. These saving options can be found on every single tab, including the info tab. And essentially what these do is it allows you to save the option parameters that you have set up here. So if I like my colors, number of colors, my distances, for attraction, my paver sizes and pattern types, this will save all of the selections and changes that you've made within this window. How it actually turns out may be a little bit different from iteration to iteration, but the parameters that you're using to control will change. So if I do save select settings option, up here at the top, it will prompt me to enter a save name. And if I do option 1 and hit enter, and lastly, the save current settings is where you will click this button. And then when you open up your file once again, if you hit load last save, it will simply load the last save that you made. So this is a quick save up here, and this is more of a saving of options so that you can flop between those options. I hope that you enjoyed this workflow, and please feel free to reach out to us or visit us at our website, landkit.design, and visit our campus page for more information, as well as our office hours where you can get any of your LandKit questions answered from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. every Friday at Eastern Time.